Hi everyone, welcome to Behind the Grid, where we explore worldviews from around the world and the key moments that change them forever. What I want to offer you right now is an opportunity to experience your world through someone else's story, and to perceive your challenges from a fresh perspective so that you can get past them and reach your wildest goals. I'm your host, Chris Owl, and welcome to the show. Before we start, I want to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Essential Vibes Frequency Jewelry. They're a really cool company. They found a way to put frequencies into metals and crystals, which have different effects when you wear them on your body. If you want to check them out, go to essentialvibes.ca/owl. Today I'm speaking with Marylou. Marylou was cured of a serious health condition by Mother Ayahuasca, and afterwards Marylou was told by the mother to share the sacred medicine with the world. And now Marylou facilitates the medicine and helps people be their own shaman to heal themselves. Marylou, welcome to Behind the Grid.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. I'm just one story. There are so many amazing stories. But I totally, definitely, yes, here's my little grain of sand in this human reality. I'm from Mexico. So I was born in a little town in the mountains, surrounded by forest. Since very young, I remember playing with my sisters. I will stop in the middle of my game and I will just repeat to myself, I have to remember not to have kids and I have to go to Canada. Of course, my parents thought that my imagination it was really too active because I used to, I was always wanted to know, I was always investigating. I have a beautiful childhood, always playing. The love of my parents was always there. I didn't see many things until later when I was an adult, and I appreciate really the amazing quality of human beings that I had as a parent. Actually, my father just passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. Yeah, I was able to say goodbye to him, and I was able to mourn him for 3 days in medicine. It was amazing. It was really, I understood the meaning of mourning. And
what is that? What is the meaning of mourning?
For me, it was to be able to understand, validate, and be able to separate from that relationship. And at the same time, you are never separated. But I was able to cry with him, to laugh with him, remembering. And I went to understand every point of his life and what it was behind every decision he made, and how all his struggles, of his pains, of his joy, the major things that happened in his life. It was so beautiful. I really appreciate it. I didn't need at that moment to go to Mexico. And they were asking me, what do you mean you're not going to be with your family? I said, right now, the most important for me is to be with my father. So on Sunday when he passed away, he came to me and he said goodbye. But it was so much peace and so much contentment. There was this beautiful energy of, like a stream of water just flowing, very, very soft, very peaceful, a lot of harmonious energy there. So I knew that he was gone. And then I started meditating. At some point, I fall asleep. The next morning, I have like many messages in my phone, call us, surgeon, we need to talk to you. And I knew. So they say, are you coming? And I said, no, I don't need to be there. I'm already was with my father. The times what is that, I could be with him and help in some way. Right now, I really want to be with him. And I want to dedicate these 3 days just for him. So after I did a little bit of, work in the computer, emails and all that, I closed everything. I opened circle, I took the medicine, and I stayed with him. And it was most of the Monday, most of the day. And it was really, a process of understanding creation, understanding what it means that we are born and we die, understanding his specific life, and then everything behind him and what that plays in the creation. And it was just amazing. At the end, it was just the feeling of so much gratitude, so much appreciation for him, the amazing father that he is, because he will always be my father. And all that he did, I saw exactly what it was behind everything. For him, warming our towels after coming out of the shower as a kids, warming up our bed sheets so we won't be cold. Reading from us every night before going to sleep, telling us about his childhood. For him not to explode or to shout when there was any disagreement, he will keep quiet. So he won't get involved in the drama. And for him, that was the better way to handle any life situation. And I totally understood all his decisions about going to this place in Mexico, about marrying my mother, about staying with her, about leaving his work, about everything. I saw, I felt why he decided everything. And it was just amazing, very beautiful. So that for me was to understand more. And it was a time that it was a pain. Really, I was wailing and screaming, feeling the pain of knowing that he had gone. That's very, very healthy to cry and to because there is a feeling of separation, and at the same time, there is never going to go away because they're already part of you. But that physicality that we miss, is that be able to hug and to kiss and to be able to talk and to be able to see the expression, you will have it only in your mind and in your heart and in your dreams. And then to be okay with that and to allow it to continue. And, to see him being part of this, the creation, the little thing, it was just wow. So I was very grateful. I'm very much in peace. I know there will be a few months in the future that I will just cry, and it's totally normal and it's totally fine, and it's part of the process. So that's what I understood about the mourning. It's a process as well.
That's so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Marylou. I find grief is one of those really challenging emotions to deal with, but certainly the medicine really helps you get in touch with it, not escape from it, and to really be present with it so that you can feel it and integrate the experience and all the beauty that's there.
Yeah, it really, once we stop escaping of life and we embrace it, and we realize, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I know we say, no, being human it's very challenging. Of course, that totally agree. 7 billion people agree that it's challenging to be a human being. And at the same time, it's very beautiful because it's a possibility of so much. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, you mentioned earlier that you learned a lot about life and death and the whole process of creation. Is there any insights that are possible to put into words that you can share with us?
Well, I'm going to try to explain a little bit because a lot was just wow. I can see creation like this. It was like the creator was dancing, and everything was creator, and the dancer had this robe, this suit. And in this suit, when he moved, every fold of that robe in the movement of the dance was actually part of human life, just intertwined in that fabric. And every fold, it will be actually a life. When the fold of that rope, it will be a life starting, a life ending that we call, the human life. But it's a continuation. It's still part of that, and it's just part of the dance. And it was a lot of fractals. Everything was fractals. I could see out and in, like a continuation of everything and a part of everything. And it came to a point that is like you are feel so, wow, when am I going to be able to call this? It's the understanding of creation and the creator, and that we are the creator. We are part of that dance, that movement of that whole experience. We are not separated about anything. And I understand that we have a big role. Even if we sometimes want to play it small, or we are so full ourselves and we say, I'm the one why the universe moves. Both are true. In reality, because of our freedom of choice, that's kind of the wild card for humanity in creation. That's what it gives all those tones and flavors, and how every human life is so unique and so divine and so special, even though it could be full of pain and really sour moments and a lot of suffering. As the consciousness rises, there is a point that we can start choosing that experience not to be painful anymore. Because as with the suffering and the joy, there is a point that we realize that we have a say in that we can stop suffering. So it's a choice. Mm-hmm. But with the same, what do you mean? I'm in the middle of war. I have no food. I have no shelter. They're killing my family. And you tell me I have a choice not to suffer? Yes. Because at the end, everything is just an experience. And it's not to say lightly or just dismiss it. No. Experience it. Feel it. I know that is exactly that, an experience, a sickness, all is an experience. So, so we have the capacity to experience the whole, the two sides of everything. That's why our duality, everything that is just amazing and everything that is so, no, I don't want this anymore. Please get me out of here.
So Marylou, you started off Catholic and you ended up in a totally different world, in a totally different worldview. And you mentioned how you always had that insight as a child to go to Canada and to never get married. Can you fill us in on a bit of the story about how you got from that childhood Catholic girl state all the way to where you are now as an ayahuasca facilitator?
Sure. So when as a child, well, it's like you are this point of consciousness. You are, so then you open your eyes and you are right there in that family, in that place. So I think we kind of choose, I think, at some point. And sometimes it is why I think we want to experience everything. But anyway, so I tell you, very happy childhood. I never experienced, aggression. I never experienced lack. We weren't, that there was no abundance to say like we can go on vacations every year, like we can go on vacation, let's say every 2 years to the beach or things like that. But I didn't feel that I missed anything, So yes, my family Catholic. We had to go to church every Sunday all together, and we had to do, the baptism, the confirmation, the first communion, all that, traditional rituals that are required to be part of that. And since very young, going to church, I used to feel so much hypocrisy. People around me, they were not paying attention to what had been said in Mass. They will just whispering and gossiping and talking what is wearing and who is coming with who, and little town, very small town, so everybody knew the lives of everybody. And that was kind of the point of meeting, of seeing who is here and who is not and everything. So as a child, for me, it was really upsetting. I didn't understand why. And at some point, I told my mom, maybe I was 8, 9, around that. And I said, I don't want to go to church. I feel that is not real. I feel that is, I'm not there because I want to be there. I'm going because it's an obligation. And I prefer to be there when it's sincere. So please allow me to go only when I really want to go.
Oh, wow. And so how did they take it?
Oh, my mother said yes. Then she said, you know now what it is. And, you know what it is. So yes, I won't force you. I think it was after my first communion when I asked that. As well, because after the first time I confessed, after my first communion, it was horrible. I was asking my mother, why do I have to confess? I'm a child. Like I couldn't. What do we do? We fight with my sisters. What else do I do? We didn't have big scenes. We were very enclosed. We were always playing and going to school. So there was not much scenes to have. And at the same time, in one occasion, we were having a vacation. We were in Guadalajara. We went to see churches because my mother find that they are beautiful. Yes, you see one, you see all, and most of them. But in one of them, in Guadalajara, she said, "I want you all to confess, so you can take the communion." And we are talking about 2 sisters younger than me, and 1 older than me, and 2 brothers older than me. So my first sister goes to the confessionary, to the priest. And a few minutes later, she stands up and she starts, kind of laughing about it. And it's like, oh, what's going on? And then it's my turn. And then I kneel there. And then, the priest start asking questions, when is your last confession? And then he asked, what are you? And I said, about what? And he said, what are you? And I said, well, about what? He started screaming at me, I'm asking you, what are you? And I said, yeah, but what? I'm about a woman, or I was a child. And then I said, no, are you single? Are you married? Are you divorced? He's like, oh, come on, it's a child. Who are you, confessing? So I told him, no, I think I was like 10 years old or something like that.
Wow. And
then he started asking me, do you have bad thoughts? Did you think in pornography? Did you have books that
what the heck?
Yeah, he was a really old guy.
Twisted.
And he was asking me things. And at some point I just get up. It was enough. But then my 2 younger sisters, he asked them the same. You're talking a little girl, asking the same thing. So we told my mom. And I told my mom, this is the last time that I confess. So don't even ask me.
Yeah, no kidding.
And never again. I said, you know what? If I have something to say, I say it directly. I don't have intermediaries. So then that kind of validated my request to my mother, And then we were in a little small town. And then to go to secondary school, we have to move, my fathers have to get another house in a bigger city. So we will have secondary school because in the little town there was only primary school. And I was going to be living with my grandmother. So my parents will come there just once a week. Anyway, so then I was always the desire to know. I had so many questions in me. Oh, another thing that happened when I was very, very young. I used to remember my previous life.
Oh, wow.
But I forgot at some point. my mother used to make fun of it because I will talk a lot about the Ramayana. She said, you talk about the Ramayana, and they used to make fun. They thought that I invented all the words. And I used to call things different names. And they just make laugh about it. And with the time, I forgot about it. But it was annoying that, about previous life, very clear.
Wow.
Then, the religion. Then I still, when we used to go to the catechism classes, I would ask questions about God, about us being the Son of God. And usually the people that they teach the catechism, they will say at some point, well, you just have to have faith. And I said, well, I'm asking this and you're telling me to have faith. It doesn't, it's not an answer. So I think I was very frustrated for them because I wanted answers and they didn't have an answer.
It blows my mind, Marylou. You're so self-aware at 9 and 10 years old. You had all of this. Like clearly, you've done a lot of work in a past life, then, because you are a spark of consciousness in this kind of silly clown house world.
But I have amazing parents, of course. I think, and actually, my younger sister, they are two younger. The next one. She has ayahuasca experiences with ayahuasca.
Oh,
so
wow.
she will get this connection and knowing that we all one and about the love, the universal love, just spontaneous like that. Anyway, so actually she's the one that I sometimes I feel, am I, infecting her with my questions and, I bringing her into the world of investigating, because what happened later when I moved to Durango to go to secondary school, and we went in one house, and then when we moved to the second house, right across that house, there was a lady doing yoga. And when I met my neighbor and she invited me to practice yoga, it was fantastic. I was practicing yoga very young and doing meditation. Of course, I cannot say the word meditation. We're talking about the 70s, okay? Mm-hmm. So then people said, what is yoga? And, well, it's exercise, So if I say meditation, they think it was very weird.
Yeah.
So I understood very soon that that part I have to leave, outside, because it will create kind of, lifting the eyebrow, like, what is that? Right there in that yoga group, I met a girl that had just arrived from Colombia, and they belong to the Gnostics. And it just clicked. It just like I knew I find, something very important for me. So they were bringing, it was very, very strong in Latin America. It was a group that the leader of that was called Samaela Umber. And they brought this, it's not a religion, it is about taking all the knowledge of the ancient Gnostics and focusing a lot about meditation, to practice, to be conscious about you, to be present, to practice, we have like a ceremonies, that's supposed to be kind of very for that group, like you don't talk about it, and you go like to chambers, chamber 1, chamber 2, depends, levels and, designations, which I don't like it. But in that moment, that was totally appropriate. We used to gather and meditate and talk about esotericism, talk about sacred geometry, talk about, the consciousness, the different bodies that we have, you name it. Wow. And it was amazing. For me, it was so fantastic. It's like, yes, this is what I'm looking for. That actually helped me a lot. It was like refreshing a lot of things, And one of the things, the more important things was the meditation. It was the practice to be present. We used to call it conciencia de sí, to be conscious about you. And it was like a 3-step process. Subject, object, and place, like to gather together the 3 concepts in a moment, in time, space, and everything. But you do it, try to hold into that as long as you can. So that was a practice. But later was Mother asked me, remember, practice that. And she will put me sometimes in ceremony to practice that. But anyway, so then I stayed with them, and I got so many answers. I still have more questions. And when my parents will come, I was living with my grandmother was there. My parents will come there, the main house is 100 kilometers. So they will come once a week. And the main point of reunion is when we eat together in the afternoon between 1 and 3. It's like a long meal. When people think we are sleeping and nap, no, we are talking and eating. And we talk about everything. So in those times, I will take the opportunity and share with them a few things. One day I came, and I will bring some books as well, and I will show them. And I told them about Kundalini energy. So, we were practicing with the breathing to raise the sexual energy to our spinal cord through all the chakras, and they were so scared. Oh. So they took me to their bedroom, and they said, either you stop going there or you're going to a military school. So I was, maybe 14, 15. So they thought that it was a sect, that they brainwashed me, that in that time we knew about the Hare Krishna, so they were very scared that they will see me in the street. Oh, no. So then I have to agree for that time, to ask not to go anymore, because it was creating a lot of friction at home, and because I'm very disobedient, so I cannot obey. If I go to a military school, I know I will be in very big trouble.
Oh, yeah.
If you're enjoying this episode, please support the podcast by subscribing and leaving a review and a comment. Now back to the episode.
So I said, okay.
Did you go in secret after?
Yes. Well, actually, when I finished high school there in Durango and I went to Mexico City to the university, I looked for the Gnostics, and I keep, all the years that I was there. And then when I came to Canada, I looked for them, and I continue in Toronto with them.
And now still as well?
No. There was a point that one day I just realized that it was enough for me, that it was enough theory.
So what is it at that time? What are some of the major beliefs that you were finding really useful, or some of the major perspectives or worldviews that you found useful from the Gnostic teachings?
It was so many things, to understand that we are not our body, that we actually have so many bodies. They talk about 7 bodies. And, to really start being aware of that and to start working with, our different bodies, the astral bodies. One of the practices was actually to consciously separate your astral body and go into into the dream world, that we call it, because that's when we dream, when we sleep, that our astral body that is attached to our belly button through a silver cord. That's what they believe. And it goes into any space of time. So you can go into a really low vibrations of world, or can go into a really high world. So, very, very spiritual. You are okay as well. Even they talk about a practice how to get out consciously, not kind of a spiral. So, and not to be afraid, whatever you experience. And when you are there, to take the opportunity and ask for the masters to teach you. Once you realize you are sleeping, you ask, oh my God, I'm sleeping. Hey, I can go any place and any time. Can I, get the wisdom of such and such person, or just open to any? And the practice was, when something is happening in your life, say you are walking in the street and you see a weird animal, there, and you say, oh my God, am I sleeping? So you pull your big thumb, and if that extends, it means you are in the astral body. Yeah. So you are in your astral body. So then you realize, I'm sleeping. And, when that happens, you tell everybody around you, we are sleeping. And they don't believe you. So I say, okay, fine. I say, I'm going to fly, or whatever you want to do, because you are free. Anyway, that was one of the practices that we had. And there were so many about knowing that we come many times, the reaffirming my knowing that we are here many, many times. And in that time, I used to believe about karma and dharma, and, about that we have to pay, and we, when we do something, we have to do the opposite. In some way, yes, but not anymore with the guilt, not anymore with the judgment. So that's what it changed from that to now. There were a lot about, the ancient cultures, all the symbols that they had. When I was in Mexico City, they rent a bus, and we will go the whole group into the archaeological centers. Many times we will do meditation on top of the pyramids. And we will look around for the symbols. We go into the museums there and see the different things, and, try to feel, to understand, to connect with those, that energy right there. It was very interesting, very amazing people, and then I brought one of my sisters to that. That's what I said, all my siblings was totally, they used to tell me that I was very crazy, that I was weird, that I was always in La La Land. And, there was really, just the general understanding that there was something different,
How did you go from this all the way to doing ayahuasca over 100 times? How does that even happen?
It's a process. Anyway, to make the story shorter. Anyway, so then life continued, different jobs, being able to express myself in English, changing, different places. I got married, I got divorced, and then later on I got married, I got divorced. Well, after my second marriage, it hit me really hard. I went to a depression. First, I wasn't sure about it, but I started feeling really down. But it just kept pulling me down. And in that depression, it was like over 10 years that I spent there, spinning and going in a really deep places. So what happened is I was very mad at myself. First, I was very, upset about my decisions and how I allow it to be taken advantage, what I experienced for me to be that somebody took advantage. And I was not a child, I was already an adult. And that used to make me so upset, like, how can I allow it? Like, I did it. It's not like somebody did it, I did it. So I was able to forgive, but I couldn't do it to me. And I knew that. I totally understood intellectually that in order for me to get out of that state, I have to love myself. I knew it. So I went to so many seminars, workshops. I read books. I did all the exercises that they asked me to do in order to feel love and forgiveness for myself. And it didn't click. And that not clicking, it will take me into a spinning in that is not happening. I'm not able to do it. And the depression will be deeper and the anger will be stronger. And one day I realized that has converted in actually hate. One time talking to one of my sisters, and in that moment I caught myself, in this expressing what I was feeling, and I realized, wow, this is really. I kind of felt scared, like, wow, this is really big. So there was this desire to get better, and I didn't know what else to do to make it better. And even I remember a good friend of mine came by, and she said, Marylou, I come and I leave, and I come and I leave, and you are in the same place. You don't move. And to hear that, it was whatever I repeat to myself, I was hearing from somebody else. I knew it. And it was the excruciating pain of hearing it. So that big depression and that, not being able to make it happen, to feel love for me, it came into really, very dark, really, you're really in this big hole. And it manifested physically. One day I used to have a bed and breakfast. And I was outside late in the evening. We were listening to an owl. And this was a family that I had been coming, regularly. Suddenly I felt this excruciating pain in the left side of my head. And I'm not prone to be sick, I can have a headache if I have a cold, but, I'm even through, I'm able to sleep very well. Always has been a blessing. So when I experienced that excruciating pain, I actually contacted my sister, my sister, she's a doctor, and I told her, I have this very strong pain. What do I do? And she said, how is your blood pressure? I said, well, I don't know. It's always really good. So I said, well, I need to know. She was actually traveling that early morning. They were doing some vacation. So she said, I need to know. So I waited for my guest to go to sleep, and I went to the emergency, and, they check everything. And, waited. I finished. I left there at like 3:00 in the morning. And the only thing that the doctor told me that is go and see your doctor.
Okay.
I said, can you please tell me my blood pressure? And then they said, yeah, you are doing very good. Your blood pressure is very good. Go and see your doctor. Anyway, so I told my sister, my blood pressure is this. And, and she said, well, I said, don't worry. They told me to go and see my doctor, and that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. So go and you trip and enjoy. After that, I never told anything to my family because I know my sister will be very concerned without being able to do anything. But this kept going. I went to see my doctor, so many tests, CAT scan, MRI. And, we tried so many painkillers, even new ones. I said, try this one, it's new in the market. Nothing will work. And as soon as it didn't work, I won't take it anymore because all my life, I know much final pills. I take it when I need it. I have a cold or whatever. But in my childhood, I never had a cold. We were very healthy. So I never saw my parents really taking pills. So that didn't exist for us too much, My grandmother's was more about, take mint, to take chamomile, or take cinnamon tea. That's where we tend to.
That's such a blessing that you had that example.
Actually, my mother, if somebody I admire so much, is my mom. My father as well, but my mom is actually beyond who she is as a woman, as a mother, as a human being, as a wife. It was just, always in awe, even though sometimes it was difficult, because she had to be a little bit hard in us because she wanted us to have a productive life. Anyway, then I continue, trying to find what is this? Because the pain was very strong. And it was day and night, was continuing. It was just increase or decrease the intensity. So many times I had to go to emergency and just, scream and cry and say, please take it away. Do whatever you need to do, just take it away. And they will just do an they inject you a little bit of painkiller, so we'll calm down. And I remember one time when I come out of the emergency in Coburg and they give me prescription, and I went to fill out the prescription. I still have the headache very strong, but it cannot ease a little bit, because when it was so strong, it was just so strong that I will hit my head in the wall. I couldn't stand it. I would just scream. And sometimes I will have friends around that I will ask them just to take care of my guests, just welcome them. For now, I can handle. I have to go to emergency. One of my friends, she couldn't speak any English, and I said, you know what, you will find a way. I gotta go. Anyway, it was really to find a way to go day by day by day. In that time, I had a cat, my baby, and that cat stayed with me 18 and a half years. That little thing helped me so much. It actually, when my babies will leave, give them the breakfast, they will leave. Sometimes I will be like, please go, because I can't stand it anymore, this. And I would just lay down, and he will come into right in my left side of my head, and he will lie and cover with his tummy my head.
Oh.
I know that he helped me a lot. And I know that a lot of very hard moments, my responsibility to take care of him was very strong. I promised him that I will take care of him. But anyway, so to make the story more shorter, that keep being kind of complicated with every time I was, already with the menopause. So every time I have a hot flash, I can see it getting more complicated. Then I start having problem walking, exhausted all the time. And then really moving my legs, it was an ordeal. And then at some point, from going to one bedroom into the kitchen of my place, it was like a really, I didn't know when it will be the last time that I won't be able to do that. So one morning I wake up, I went into the shower, and when I was in the shower, I started having problem breathing. And I contacted the doctor and I said, and he said, well, I cannot take you, go to emergency. He always said, go to emergency, because at some point he told me, it's nothing I can do for you. Look for something else. And I tried, you name it. Acupuncture, Chinese medicine, Reiki, massage, you name it, whatever. And nothing worked. So then, and right there at the end, I realized that I'm not going to last too long, because I am ready, not able to walk. I was sure that I will be in wheelchair very soon, and I totally refused that. I said, no way that I'm going to be in wheelchair. So, but once I started having problem breathing, I knew that it coming very fast. So I decided that I wanted to be with my sisters. And so I have to call my older sister and explain and say, I don't know, I'm just I'm in a very bad position right now, and I want to be with you guys. I didn't know if I will be able to return or what is going to happen, but I knew that I needed my family. Then she was very much like, why you didn't tell me anything? I said, because you are far away. I know you will be worried, and you have your life, And that's why I never wanted to tell them exactly what was going on. I arranged my things at home. I arranged who will take care of my baby. And I knew that if I won't be back, there will be a couple that they will look after my cat.
Oh.
And right there before leaving, one day, I was looking something in Netflix because my doctor said, you got to rest. And I said, I'm resting, that it still doesn't help. And when they're resting, I was looking something in Netflix and I find DMT, the spirit molecule.
Oh.
When I saw it, I watched it 3 times in a row. I write down every name of every person in that documentary. And that took me to Madre, to Ayahuasca. So once I find out that, I say, you know what? I want to experience that. Before I die, I want to experience that. Because I grew up that you don't touch drugs, nothing.
Yeah.
I did some smoking when I was a teenager because we wanted to be cool. There were some guys that we like in engineering, so we wanted to be older, look older. Nobody smoked at home. Nobody. Not my parents, not my brothers. Nobody smoked. Cannabis, out of the question. Any of the drug, we never were exposed to anything, absolutely anything. I think in my life, I smelled once in the street cannabis that I didn't know what it was, but I never took anything. So the concept coming from my mom was, if you take a drug, you don't know if it's going to take over you, and you will be a vegetable in a corner, not being really able to function. You will be a slave of addiction. So do you want that for you? So there was always this fear of, not being conscious of you and giving your life to something like, I did that to myself, So never encountered that around me. Actually, one time in university, we met an Italian guy, with a friend. We were doing some, we have to do some practices. And we met an Italian guy, and my friend took cocaine. The guy offered her cocaine, and she took it, and I said, no, thank you, not for me. So, that was very clear. So I grew up with the knowing that you don't touch drugs. So when ayahuasca came into my spectrum of awareness, I said, yes, I have nothing to lose. I want to experience that, really before I go. And so since I already have my ticket to go to Mexico, I look for a shaman, and I find one person doing ceremonies in Mexico City. And 2 days after I arrived, I was in my first ceremony. When I told my sister when I arrived and I explained what I was doing, she said, are you crazy? You're going to take a drug? And I said, yes, I have nothing to lose. And I said, but it's a drug. Said, yes, so what? So she went with me to see the place, what kind of people is there, got to see them. And she came and picked me up when I finished the ceremony.
Oh.
So I prepared my dieta very well. And we did it actually during the day. It was in a garage, in a house in the Colonia Condesa in Mexico City, right in the central. And I remember that I was very excited. I was ready. Once I connected, start first with the colors and then the sacred geometry. And right there, the pain in my head disappeared, right there. It was just amazing. It's when the two polarities of having this excruciating pain and then not there. So it was a very beautiful experience. It was very challenging. It was painful. I went to the bathrooms a few times, and I vomited one big lump in my belly button. And I went to heaven, and I saw my mom, and I talked to Mother Ayahuasca, and it was really beautiful. My intention in that first ceremony was to forgive myself. And Madre told me, there is nothing to forgive, only to love. But if you need to take the step of the forgiveness, go ahead. It's a type of love. So when we finished the ceremony, it was a group about 25 people, 30 people. Actually, in that first ceremony, I remember one guy was having an experience so strong that it sounds like they were doing an exorcism.
Oh, dear.
He was screaming and fighting, and there was the shaman, and he has the spouse and another person, the organizer. And the three of them, they were just holding this guy. Was a big guy. And they just were screaming at him, and he was screaming at them. So we all stayed in our place. We never get up to say, can I help? No, everybody stay in their place, and we allow them, I focus in my experience, no matter what was happening. And they told us when we finished, thank you for allowing us to do our work and stayed in your experience. And that's why, that was very helpful for the future. Strong experiences, yes. When I finished, I was very tired, exhausted. My sister came and picked me up, took me home. She had prepared my favorite soup. I couldn't eat. I just wanted to take a shower and go to bed. And, like when you have a cold, you're getting better and you don't feel to eat anything.
Yep.
And I started getting better and better and better. And in a couple of weeks, I remember I went with her outside. She had to go out a few things, and I will still be a little bit dizzy sometimes. And sometimes you say, you weren't ready. And I say, no, I'm doing okay. The pain was not there. There was in 2 weeks, I felt brand new. And exactly 1 month when I took the medicine, 1 month later, I was in my second ceremony. So my intention for that second ceremony was I wanted to feel love for me. And I got it. It was so healing. I was dancing in love. I was flying in love. I was giggling all the experience. Even the shaman said, you are giggling all the I know, I was in the best place. I went to see, it was me looking at me being born and remembering the joy that I wanted to experience everything. I wanted to walk and go and see and taste. Then I went to see a couple of things that happened in my childhood. And when I saw them, and I knew that they marked my adult life, my relationships with men. And when I saw it again, I said, that's it. Oh, I let it go. It's like you are seeing in a different way, no big deal. But as a child, that was very strong because it was a rejection, a few times a rejection coming from my older brother. And for me, I used to look up to him. And for him, choosing, somebody else instead of, I want to go. I said, no, you. Just something like that. It was so, the impact of that later in my life, it was just incredible. So I said, I let it go. Anyway, so, very amazing. 1 month later, I was in my third ceremony as well. Beautiful.
1 month.
1 month. Actually, my decision was I will take this as a medicine.
Yeah.
And my choosing was to take it once a month. So after my third ceremony, I came back to Canada. And I started looking for ceremonies here. And I couldn't find anything, But I found a couple in New York. So I went there for 2-night ceremonies. And then a month later, I went, again to 2 ceremonies. Right there in my ceremony number 6, the madre said at some point, I want you to help. And it was like, are you talking to me? It was like, it's me. And I said, but how am I going to help? What can I do? It's just me. And said, do I need to go to the jungle? Because I have read, that the shamans have prepared for 15 years, 20 years, all their life. Their grandfathers, their fathers, they come from the lineage, all that thing. And I said, do I need to go to the jungle? And it's like so many things that come in that moment, like how I'm going to do that, And she said, no. You are going to help right where you are, and everything will happen. Everything, it will come to you. So you will see it happening. I will be there. So anyway, so then right there, I asked the shaman, the one who was facilitating that ceremony, would you come to Canada? He said, yeah, as soon as I get my green card, I will come to Canada. So I started organizing ceremonies, and I joined the Ayahuasca Association of Canada, the meetup. I remember I put the ceremony there. Ayahuasca ceremony, I remember. Because I didn't start that meetup. Somebody else started. And anyway, so then that's the way it started. And then started, the forms, getting the forms. What do we need? I have really very, small experience in that, in having the medicine. It was just 6 times. And then, things start happening. And in my first ceremony that I organized, the shaman arrived, and 2 more people were supposed to arrive to help, but they never show up.
Oh, no.
So I have this group of people ready that were waiting until the person, we cannot get a hold of them. Let's start. And so everybody took the medicine. I took my dosage of medicine, and I always very used to be connected, but you are aware. You are totally aware. And I just needed to do a little bit more effort to be really present. I remember telling my hearing, I'm going to be very, very sensitive to any movement. So I can sit. I usually have a little seat. That's why I get used to sit and not be in the floor, because I was able to see more. I will be by the door. So I was the gatekeeper to check that everybody that is going to the bathroom, if anybody needs any help, and then to make sure that such and such is in the bathroom. Okay, I need to go and check, things like that. So because the time becomes so, you feel like it has gone an hour, it's only 5 minutes. So then I have to really kind of anchor myself to bring myself. And at the same time, there were moments that I can go into my experience. And that's the way it went. My function after that, it was to organize the ceremonies, to bring the shamans, people that comes to the ceremonies, that will recommend such and such. I went to a ceremony with this person, and they will put me in contact, and then I will talk to them, and could you come to facilitate the ceremony? I will organize it for you. And that's the way it started. And I brought many people from Peru mainly, Colombia, Brazil, Mexico, and some from here, from Ontario.
Wow.
And everyone, some they came several times, some of them, few times. But then after some time in that, a few years in that, I came to a point after one couple that I brought from Peru, I was very disappointed because instead of things getting easier when they come, they were getting more complicated. And there were things that I didn't agree. So there was this controversy for them telling me, Marylou, you're interfering in the way we facilitate the ceremonies. This is our ceremonies. And I said, yeah, but I organize it and these people trust me. So there are things that I cannot allow it. For example, the filming of the ceremonies. That was when I was, there were a couple of things that was one of the things when this shaman started filming the ceremony. So when I turned around and I saw him with the camera filming, I said, I just get up and I said, no. So he spoke Spanish and I was telling him, you can't do this. You have no permission. You have no agreement to do this. We, as the people, you cannot film and you cannot record ceremonies. You are aware of that. We have talked about it. Your wife put a few days before a picture in Facebook and they recognized the face of one of the participants. And I said, you take down pictures. We are not allowed pictures. We got to respect people's, the lives.
Yeah.
They are trusting me with that. I respect it. And you are doing it. You are the shaman. We are not in Peru. And you are aware of the situation. So he kept telling me, you are being really, selfish. And this is not a big thing. And, I said, no. So it was a really, situation right there in the middle of the ceremony.
Wow.
So after that, I was very, very, very disappointed. And I had quite a few, I couldn't believe that the egos of some people that they call themselves shamans, that they believe that they are special, that they are prima donnas, so they are movie stars, so this, this personality that they think they are better than the participants.
Yeah, I found a lot of shamans don't necessarily have an enlightened mind or anything like that. They've just accessed the medicine and some amount of spiritual power. And, if you haven't worked on your consciousness, that can really mess with you. You can actually do a lot of harm with that.
What are we doing here? We are exactly to understand that nobody's more and nobody's less. That's one of the basic things. So when I start having, I had through the years situations like that. At some point, even we were going to cancel right before the ceremony, and I said, no, I cannot do that to the people that are driving, that they ask for vacation days. They arrange everything, and they are trusting they are coming to a ceremony just because, the shaman and myself, we cannot get in a place of agreement. So this is between the shaman and myself. And I said, you know what? You and me are doing the work right here, right now. You go and you do the work, and I go and do my work. And we are coming, and we are going to do this ceremony in the best place that we can, because that's why we are doing. And we did. We have an amazing ceremony, but
wow.
Wow. Anyway, so then when that happened with the filming of the ceremony, and in that one it was 3 issues, but it was one of them. I told Madre, I'm done. I was so disappointed. I said, I think I'm out of this. And then in that, it was like saying that, and then receiving a message from one of my spiritual sisters, and she's in New York. And she said, Marylou, I'm doing a circle just for women, and I want you to be my guest, but I want you to come not to help. I want you to come and take the medicine. I said, yes, thank you. I need to. So I went there, and the mother said, no, what you experienced all these years, it was like a chapter number 1. Now you know what you want and the facilitation of a ceremony. Now you know the people you can work with. And the only thing you have to do is just to choose them. If it doesn't work for you, you don't need to bring them. So just, now what you want to bring to the group. So yes, I knew who I can work with and who definitely I won't invite back.
It looks like there's a lot of owls in this story.
Yes. Little and bigger ones. Isn't that beautiful? So after that, I promised to myself, and I promised to the whole group, to the whole past and future people attending, that I won't bring a shaman to the ceremonies unless I have met them, I have gone to take the medicine with them, I have experienced how they facilitate the ceremony, and if there is a knowing that we can work together, then I will invite it. Besides that, I won't.
So what do you look for in a good shaman?
Somebody that is humble, somebody that is simple, somebody that is, we are human beings in process. It's not about, I need the enlightened person that it calls itself a shaman, that is done. It has his word. No, we are all in process. So what I'm looking at is somebody who is real, authentic, and has integrity. That's very important for me. I don't care if it's South American or Peruvian or Brazilian or Colombian. That where are they coming from is not important. It's the person itself, And the only way for me to really know, it was really to go meet them and be within the ceremonies, taking their medicine, seeing how they facilitate, and getting to know them as a human being. And since the beginning, I will go and say, I'm coming, I introduce myself. I want to meet you. This is what I want to do. And I want to be there in your ceremony. And if you feel okay with me and I feel okay with you, we talk. And I organize you a group and you can come and facilitate it. And I did it after that. It has been like that.
And then now you have a new philosophy where everybody is their own shaman. How did you go from this point of looking for shamans to this place of coming to everyone being their own shaman?
Well, that's annoying with the medicine. That what happened is in the past, in the jungle, where this medicine is coming from, only the shaman used to take the medicine. So people will come to the healer. They weren't called shaman; they were called el hierbero, el curandero. The healer. So they come and say, I have pain here, or this is my situation, my wife, my kids, my work, everything. What can I do? Can you help me? As well, it's around the Amazon, there is a lot of beliefs about somebody can harm them, that somebody can put things into them. They can, create situations that they are not pleasant into somebody else's life. So the belief creates the situation. But anyway, so then go to this person that they think, they believe that they can help them, but only the shaman will take the medicine, the ayahuasca. And then after he has his experience, then he brings the knowledge and say, do this, take this, what you do. But lately, because of the situation, the awakening, the desire of so many of knowing, the ayahuasca is out of the jungle. It's all over the world, really all over the world. And so we all are taking the medicine. We are not relying on an intermediary telling us, interpreting our experience. You directly are going there and getting all the knowing and the insights and the experience, is so then the shaman is you for you. The shaman is me for me. So everyone that is taking the medicine is their shaman for themselves. Mm-hmm. And if somebody says, I'm going to heal you, it's great when that belief can help the person to get some healing. But then there is a point that you got to guide them and to know that they can only heal themselves. Mm-hmm. Because in reality, only you can wake up yourself and you can only heal yourself. It can be tried so many ways and still don't get this change and this different state of being, a different state of health, or, changing your reality. So if somebody has all this beautiful energy and can entice somebody to guide them, come here, this way. And then bring them to the point that they get some healing and they start, awakening, as they start rising their consciousness. So they come to the point that they realize, okay, I did it, thank you. And, and at the end of the day, we are all part of the same. We are just droplets of the ocean of the Creator. No more, no less. Mm-hmm.
So if I were to make an argument for having a shaman, it would be that it's useful to have somebody who's familiar with the medicine. And even though the role of the shaman has changed, it's useful to have somebody there in case maybe you're not really prepared to deal with some of the intense experiences that come. And is this potentially what you feel the role of the facilitator is now, which isn't really the shaman? You're redefining it so that it's more of a collective experience.
The role of the shaman or facilitator is essential. It's very, very important. So everything that is present that in the circle is very important. The intention, the energy. So yes, and I tell you, I know shamans or facilitators that they are amazing. That is, they bring all that inner wisdom to that. This presence, this consciousness. That's the beauty, regardless of who they are. And yeah, they are amazing shamans. But and I have nothing against anybody. If somebody wants to call themselves shamans, by all means, whatever it suits you, totally fine. The beauty of the freedom of choice. But the only thing is that don't get hooked to put somebody above yourself. That's the only thing. Don't give your power away. So even if you are in a state that you are really down, really depressed, feeling that you don't want to be in this life, that you are not worth it, that you are a little poor human being in this planet, still, the shaman is not going to bring their own wisdom to make you to look up to them and to give you power away, like only you can heal me or only you have the way. No, the shaman, the real healer, the real facilitator is just to bring themselves in a complete, presence. And it said, my baby, my brother, my sister, we are walking a path and you can do it too. So here it is. I'm here. I'm holding your hand. We can do it. You said you are ready. You feel you are ready. Let's go together. It's not easy, but if you want this medicine, you are ready for it, because it's not easy. And that's the first question that I always ask people. Do you know that this is not recreational? And the majority say yes. No, I know. I have it. Actually, nobody said yes. I'm coming for the colors and the show. So, yeah, there are really amazing people out there, and it's very important. Very important to have. Even if somebody is doing taking the medicine by themselves, I say, you know what? Just do it with respect. Arrange a little altar and ask permission to take the medicine. And thank you for allowing me to take this medicine. My intention is this, and I'll totally fine. But it's good to have experience, because if you go really deep and you need somebody there, it's good to have somebody there. Even you can ask a friend, you can ask a relative that they can take you to the bathroom, or just to assure you that everything will be fine.
Marylou, if somebody is listening and they feel like ayahuasca might be something that they would want to do, what advice would you give them before they go down that path?
I think one of the most important feelings to have before taking ayahuasca is to know that it's for you. Because people can get really into my son or my friend had this amazing experience and I want to experience the same. So, I want to come and I want to have that. So it's very good to understand it's very individual, very, very individual. And every time it's going to be different because you are not in the same place. So having butterflies or a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of fear is normal up to a certain point. If the person is in extreme fear and it's more time to relax, it's only when you are ready. It's only when you feel that you are prepared to take this. And you will know it. And once you are ready, wild horses can stop you. When you're ready, you're ready. So that's one of the things of why it's important for me to meet people face to face, because I want to make sure that they are doing it for them. They are not being pushed or, this is amazing, everybody have to take it. This is what is going to make the big change in humanity. It's not for everybody. There are so many paths. So why we have to say everybody have to like, salsa, and everybody have to like mangoes, and everybody have to like coconut water? No, everybody can choose what is the best for you. And the best person to know what is best for you is yourself. and go with that knowing, because if you listen to somebody else wanting and you get into a situation that is a little bit difficult, it backfires. You get very scared. And, then whatever you receive, is going to help you in any way. Your medicine is in you, but it won't give you the benefit that when you are ready, wow, it just start, the layers of fears start just falling down, and the people start in their path. I know it's difficult, but I wanna know.
And how would you recommend that they find the medicine? I know that the medicine finds you, and there's an extent of going and just finding communities. But if you had advice for somebody, like I remember when you're talking about your way that you found them, you just messaged everybody in the documentary. Do you recommend that they do something similar, or what would you say if they're looking for the medicine?
Well, when the person hears the call of something, to be changed inside of them, or when you feel that life is more than just getting up and go to work and come home and go to sleep, and grow up and get married and have kids and die, it's like it have to be something else. So when you want to know more and you want more answers, you start looking. You start even clicking. We have the internet. This is amazing. I'm talking about somebody who grew up with typewriters. And because then you can just start clicking, I want to know anything, and that starts taking you into finding answers. So a lot is to go with your gut feeling. I think to go to the jungle is fantastic and experience the medicine there. It can be very challenging. It's very beautiful as well. And at the same time, sometimes it's good to experience the medicine outside the jungle. So you start getting to know exactly what is to be in a ceremony with this medicine. So when you are in the jungle and you have another factors like the bugs and the heat and the humidity and then no bathrooms and then, no walls, and you have to go to the bathroom by yourself, and it's, right, connected, and, it's kind of you're on your own. Depends where you are. So it's good to have like you already took it. So that big thing about what is this, you have an idea. So it helps. And but I think it's beautiful if everybody will have the opportunity to take it right there in the Madre's home in the jungle. All the sounds, all the smells, all the energy of all the plants is so divine, really. So anyway, so then, yes, mainly just when you start feeling the call for, I want to know more, I want to understand, right there, just start receiving answers. So anything can be, somebody said a word and then you hear it again and then again, I say, what's going on? Why 3 times in a day I heard this word that I never, you are paying attention, or, everybody says that Madre always finds you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know for myself, as soon as I watched Dr. Rick Strassman's, actually I read Dr. Rick Strassman's book, and I watched a bit of The Spirit Molecule as well and some other videos. And once I put that intention out there to find the medicine, wow, within a few months, I had met 3 different people who were able to offer the medicine to me. And that's just DMT. And then I also found a great connection in Toronto as well for the sacred medicine from the jungle. So it was really beautiful, just the way that I put the intention out there, and then everything just comes to me in the most effortless, stress-free way. So
yeah, when the person is ready, That's what happened.
So I want to ask you a bit about preparation and what I'm not sure to what extent you know about this, but what would be involved in the preparation of ayahuasca? Because especially as a facilitator, like I know that ayahuasca primarily is dimethyltryptamine, but there's other plants that are worked into it as well. Can you share a bit about what that would be like?
Sure. Well, the ayahuasca that I choose to facilitate and to organize, the integrity of the medicine is very important for me. So I have to make sure that it's only ayahuasca and chacruna going into the preparation of the tea of the two. I'm aware of some people adding another plants. And I choose not to have that other elements, because just the two plants, the ayahuasca and the chacruna, that's more than enough to prepare this very powerful tea. So they are boiled with water, and then when they are preparing, they are singing and they are blowing tobacco. Some people who prepare them, sometimes they're not even tobacco, but the majority they use tobacco, and that's it. No Toen or any other one. For me, there are two elements very important. One is the integrity of the medicine, that the medicine that I'm serving, I know 100% who prepared it. I know them in person. I have diets with them in the jungle. I know the integrity of them. And the other one is the screening of the health and what medication the person is taking. Because there are some health situations that they are not compatible with taking this medicine. And one of them is schizophrenia. So at this point, I feel horrible to say to a person, I'm sorry, I cannot give you the medicine, because I don't feel prepared. I don't feel that I have the experience to handle a situation, and I don't want you to be in a state of psychosis. And I cannot risk your safety and the group and the place when we are having the ceremony and every person that is attending. So that one is, you can say, the strongest. As well, there are situations like bipolars. Right now, at this point, I can say it's case by case of bipolars, because at the beginning, as soon as I knew that the person was bipolar, I would say sorry, but no. Now, I had my first bipolar case last year, and she prepared, to drop all the medication within months. We are talking about months of preparation. And then getting ready. And actually, when it was ready, she got in too much fear. She went to her doctor and said, no way, you are going to take ayahuasca. And then she comes and said, I can come, I'm so more afraid. I said, don't worry, just don't have to come. You take your time. It's not an obligation. It's only when you feel you are ready. And then she got ready and she called me, I'm ready. And she came and she did. And we went with a small amounts, slowly. And she did amazing work. So she's still working on it. So then I realized, I felt in that moment that I was able to guide a person to prepare for that. But it has to be individual, There is another situation like certain heart problems. Diabetics, actually, we had some diabetic people, and everything has gone really well. People with asthma as well, they need to know exactly the situation, how long, what are they taking, everything. Things like glaucoma, we have had some cases that they have a certain degree of glaucoma that is okay, but there are certain cases that I have to say no. Blood pressure, when it's a chronic blood pressure, we know how much, how long, what are they taking. So I have some forms I have actually, when the person inquired about it, most of them, they have been referred by somebody else. I send them 4 files. One is the medical and health form. It's like 3 pages. And I'm sorry that I'm asking a lot of things. And then some of the questions say, you got to tell me the truth because it's very important for the safety. And at the end, they have to sign that the information they disclose about the health and medication they are taking is true. And then the other form, it says, please read this very important information. It's all about the medication. The SSRIs, the antidepressants, that's the major ones that they can cause an interaction with the medicine. So giving a little explanation of which ones are the ones we have to really pay attention. And I want people to know. I want in certain way to start evaluating themselves if they can participate or not. And then, we talk about it, and if they are ready, we can find a way in different ways to prepare to take the medicine, if is that what they want. The other one is a preparation for the ceremony, which includes a diet, a food diet. Mainly, it's very simple. We are not very strict here. We are just asking 3 days before and 3 days after to stop certain food, like no red meats, no pork, no dairy, 1 week of no alcohol, and the alcohol, the cannabis, and any other, you can say, substance like MDMA, mushrooms, anything, it have to be stopped at least a week. It depends what it is. Medication is the one, sometimes the antidepressants, we are talking about months. Mm-hmm. Because the person have to be taper off of the medication and be free of that in order to take ayahuasca. So it depends on what painkillers, sometimes things like pills for fungus in the nail. Yes, they have to be stopped. Pills for diets, pills for stop smoking, pills for sleeping, you name it. So it's a big list and medication. And I want people to know that what is required to participate. And safety is number 1 for me. Like at that one, to have the knowing that the person there attending has been screened. We talk, we check everything, it's ready. Mm-hmm. And then my medicine has integrity, I'm in peace. Whatever we are having a strong experience, somebody's having a strong experience. And I know Madre said, don't touch sometimes, so we have to move it or we have to do certain things, but it's a piece of knowing that there is no happening an interaction with the medicine. So that's very, very important for me as a facilitator. And I'm very anal about it.
Yeah, no, I understand. There's a lot at risk, and there's people are doing a lot of deep work and they're subconscious with this medicine, and it's not very predictable. So you have to be able to create a very stable foundation so that the mother can be free to be as chaotic as she needs to be.
Well, some people need to go through a really deep experiences. And, once it's happening right there, when you have the peace of mind, that is the experience, that you are not having a situation that you need to call the ambulance, it makes such a big difference. And then another thing that, is a big gift, I have a circle of angels, my helpers. They are amazing, really amazing people. And one of them is a firefighter and paramedic. So when he's there, he tells them, please trust and relax. We are here to help you. So, for me as well, it's a blessing for any question that I may have, but, they are really, really fantastic because they know what is to help. It's not about changing plastic bags from the buckets, And I had people that they have help, and I know that it's not in them. They don't have an idea what is really to help. It's what they bring to the ceremony, the compassion. You see the person, in a really strong situation, and still, you feel this beauty, this love, this embracement that, is not physical, it's more right there. And yes, I want 10 of that to help in the ceremony. So they are very, very, very amazing, my angels.
It's about the vibration that they're bringing to the table more than just what they're doing physically or what they're saying.
That is the most important thing, who they are and the state where they are in that moment. When somebody had come in to help and is in a state of, hey, buddy, I know, I know what you are going through, and please, get out of that state, and it's like, no, that's not, to the contrary. We have been there. I know exactly what it is. And this is when you really need just to be, kind of giving your space, but at the same time surrounded by this energy of presence of you are safe, go ahead, do your work, So, and help sometimes, energetically.
So how has your worldview changed since doing ayahuasca? Because you were Catholic and then you were Gnostic for a while and then you left that. And obviously these experiences are really deep and profound and they do shift the way that you see the world. So what are some of the key shifts that have happened in your mind that have been really helpful for your life?
One of the things, actually, I was just recently talking about it. We just, with leaving the ceremony, and then somebody made a comment. I said, you know what? I used to look at life like this was a school, so we came to learn. But now I realize that life is an adventure. So, it's more fun. It really, what we came to learn is so much wisdom inside of us, and it's just to remember and to bring, to tap into that wisdom and to say, oh, yes, really, it's the judgment is off, the encasing things is off, is lighter, and then every start being perceived as an experience. So there is more friendliness with life. There is more lightness with life. There is more allowance to be joyful and playful, and and then we have even when we are in a very strong situation, something is happening, whatever. I say, all is well, And I say, yeah, sure, you want to cover your eyes and say, all is well. Well, because even when you start getting into that knowing, things start flowing and things start being solved. So you are allowing it as well to be well. So you come to understand things like that, no matter what, all is well. But like my sister wants to say, Waheguru. So, yes. So then this is an amazing experience,
I found for myself that I look at reality very different now after experiencing dimethyltryptamine in various forms. I found that I start noticing the parallels between working with medicine and just the situations that are happening in my own life. And I'm starting to see them on multiple levels where now I'm seeing like, oh yeah, this is a sensation in my stomach from this like real world situation that matches a similar experience of like purging with medicine, for example. And so I know that right now, even though it might appear to be a really hard situation, I'm actually like purging something in my life and making space for something new. Have you found there's been any shifts related to that, where you're starting to see mundane things on multiple levels or multiple layers?
It is a continuation, it's, I think it can happen even every day. And one of the most, you can say, powerful experiences is to realize that the work is not about to be done in the ceremony. The work is to be done every breath of your life. And it's about connection and being present, which is not easy to hold into, but that's the work. Just to be aware, what are you feeling and what you're thinking and what are you doing and what are your intention? And then you start choosing, because it's like you create a space when you really can choose what you want to say or what you want to do. And that's you start creating your life. And that is as slow as much as we want it like a big 360 degrees or 180 degrees, and have this really huge transformation. Everything takes, and for us a human, everything is a process. So I know so many people wants to take one cup of ayahuasca and say, oh my God, I'm enlightened. The divorce doesn't care anymore. The work, I don't care anymore. The world, I don't care. To the contrary, it's really knowing that we have a choice to start really becoming free. But that freedom, nobody's going to give it to us. We have to really be it. And that is even the breathing, and then that space, and then breathe out that space. And when we are able to keep that, even while we are walking and talking and doing, so slowly, we will be able to do more. And there are a lot of young people, actually, they are really connected, and they feel they are not normal. And I say, Marylou, I want to be normal. I said, no, we want to be like you, to be connected and aware and conscious, because they feel that everything is upside down. I say, this is crazy. And I say, I know. It looks really crazy. So, yes, changes process, is always the movement of everything. Creation, life, everything is constantly moving, morphing, changing.
You mentioned earlier that you were working with meditation on ayahuasca. What do you feel the role is of meditation in and around the ayahuasca experience?
I think it's an important tool for before, during, and after. And when we talk about integration, and when we finish the ceremony and we do an integration circle, I'm always repeating some things. And I tell them, integration is very important. And it's not just what happened right there and that night or those 2 previous nights. It's what are you taking from this? What are you applying, or how are you using what you experience right there when you are in front of your family, when you are in your work, when you are in the street, when you are in the road, in the subway, and whatever. Meditation is part of that. I remind myself and I remind them that even just 5-10 minutes meditation, just to sit down and be quiet, and then you focus in your lungs and be with you, you are right there doing the work. We talk about appreciation and gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools that we have. And it's so simple. And because it's so simple, we don't give it the importance. And I say, okay, when you wake up in the morning, don't get out of bed. Even if you are late or whatever, just said 1 minute for me. And just 1 minute. And that minute, just said what I'm grateful about right now, right here, right in my bed, right there. And think of anything, can be your lungs, it can be your legs, it can be your eyes, it can be your bed, it can be your work, it can be your country, it can be, doesn't matter. Just one thing that is, you feel that feeling of gratitude. And then the main thing is stay in that feeling of gratitude. If you can for 1 minute, fantastic. And then get out of bed and go with your day. And I want them to explore what happened with that. Like I first start, okay, let's see what happened. And is you start bringing gratitude more and more into your day. And that's what we call to rise your vibration. It means you are choosing to feel better. It can be music, Right now, somebody, just said something or did something, and I'm furious about it. Okay, it's like I just start looking at you, and you will realize, yes, I'm upset, and I don't like it because I don't like it. That's what we want to change. Then you start. The work is to really, what can I do to change that feeling? But don't run to the feeling yet. Feel it, embrace it, thank you, anger, because you allow me to feel, to be angry. Thank you. And if you can, you see it like as something, give it a hug, and I say thank you, really, because it's part of us, it's energy. And then you say, okay, there is a song that I love, that song that it made me almost dance. Yeah, I'm going to look for that song. And you put it, and you are doing something to change the way you are feeling in that moment. That's the work. Or maybe, you are fighting with your partner, and there is a moment that, you are in a circle, and I say, you know what? Part of you is looking at that. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't want to be in that. Say, you know what? I need to go for a walk. And, just go for a walk, look for nature, look for trees. If you don't feel, so afraid, if it's the proper time of the year, go and just go next to a tree and just lean on it and just take your shoes and feel the ground, and just close your eyes and feel nature. Allow the breeze or the water sound or anything. Just allow nature to bring their own, you can say, wisdom to you, their own calmness, their own benefit. And then you can come back, and then you can talk in a better way, So all those little things, that's the work. Mm-hmm. More than even taking the medicine and going through all the ceremony. To be able to the Ho'oponopono is another tool that as silly as it sounds, we can use it in our daily life when something pushes our buttons, and then you realize, remember about it and start using it and see how it can help you.
Share how to do that technique for those who don't understand what it is.
Okay. When you can find a lot in YouTube, it's called Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono. But it's very simple. Mainly when something is happening and you want to change the way you are feeling, you just start repeating in your mind, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And just using it in a really practical ways. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I was in the supermarket in the line to pay, and it was a long line. And the guy came in front of me and just get in front of me, between me and another lady. And I look at him like, So he noticed it, turned around, and he said, I'm with her, meaning the lady in front of me. So this lady turned around, don't say any word, just look at him, look at me like, who are you? Like, obvious. She didn't know him at all. Like, you can see that she was upset about it. So the guy realized, and I said, okay, not, but I'm here already. Like, I don't know her, but I'm here. So right now, in that moment, I was like, how dare you just come inside the line, And I remember to use the Ho'oponopono. So I start repeating, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. This is not for the guy. This is for me. So that anger that I had when this guy stayed there, because he stayed there, and he paid it for me, but it didn't bother me. It didn't ruin my day. I didn't go out of there, how these people, they don't respect, and then taking that anger and something else, and then something else happened and it becomes bigger and bigger. No, I realized that I was able to do something about it, and then the feeling of anger was no longer there. So it was just an event, but it didn't affect my day. Mm-hmm. In another occasion, I used to have a neighbor that as soon as he saw my garage open, he will come and he will tell me all the drama that it was in his life.
No.
Yeah, he will talk like 2 hours, and then I was trying not to, because it will be like, I need to do this and I need to do that, and I knew that he needed somebody to talk to, and at the same time, every time he told me all that things, I felt like a really no energy, like I felt very uncomfortable. It's like he was draining myself, it was coming and taking my energy. So one day I was in the garage, and then I opened and I was doing some cleaning, and then I see him coming and I said, oh no, I cannot close it anymore. Anyway, so he started talking about, again, his wife, his mother-in-law, his kids, da, 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 da. So I, all the time he was talking, I was using Ho'oponopono. So in reality, I hear and I didn't hear. I hear what he said, and I didn't get hooked into all those emotions that he expressed. So when he left, it was not, I was not left with all this discomfort. Oh no, my time, and I feel horrible, and I feel drained, and I feel, angry, and, nothing of that. He came and he left, and in some way I kind of give some service to him, and at the same time I was able to test it. So really we can use it for really tiny things, not to be allowed to be hooked.
So what do you think the balance here is, Marylou, between holding space and just processing that emotion, and then standing up and saying, no, you are not allowed to come in front of me, or saying, no, I actually have other things to do with my time? What do you feel like the balance is, the midpoint?
You are present, you will find a way. Because, you have to honor yourself, and then you honor the other person. But first, as well, it have to be you. I know it sounds very selfish, but you cannot give something you don't have. And if you are angry because this person is taking your time and is taking your energy and all that, it's not helpful for anybody. So, you are listening to this person, and at the same time, you with your presence, you are actually helping more than if you are really listening to the emotions that he's bringing. So then you are able to listen, because you really cannot help that much just to listen. And you already did your work, he dumped all that. So just put it in aside, to go in aside. Don't take it. He is this ball of emotions and drama and trauma that is thrown to you. And you didn't say, no, don't. You just allow it for that to drop on the floor and go. So you didn't take it. So it helped the person to let go of that, all that emotions that he had, that he needed somebody to listen. And at the same time, you didn't take it either. So you start finding the ways that what to do. And it's not about protection. It's about to really put in practice to be present. And it's actually that, to be present. Because that when you are present, you actually you are bringing medicine to you, and you're bringing medicine to that person. You are really listening without taking it.
Yeah, I find that presence is one of those truths that transcend all the different cultures. You have, like, Buddhism talks a lot about presence. Gnosis, Gnostic teachings also mention that. You can go even to like Christianity, and it says, "In this stillness, I am there." And you have this connection where being present is transcendent as a truth. Have you noticed with your life that you were able to take some of the truths from being a Catholic, and then take some of them from Gnosticism and bring them into your, I guess, undefined worldview now?
Sure. I'm just thinking about one, talking about stillness, in the Bible says, be still and know that I'm God. So I love that. because just right there in that phrase, it says, once you quiet your mind and you are really aware of yourself, that's when you get to know God, because it's really God's remembering that is God. But with the Gnostics, our practices of being present, we used to say the subject, sujeto, object, objeto, lugar, place. So we try to link. So first it was be aware of you, sujeto, subject, be aware of you, your breathing, your body, your thoughts, your emotions, be present of that. And then subject, what are you doing in that moment? Oh, I'm sitting this chair. Okay, I'm breathing. I'm trying to be present. And then lugar, place. Okay, where? Oh, in this chair, in this room, in this city, in this country, in this continent, in this planet, in this universe. So it's like only you can grasp the whole thing, you and the space and time. And it's not easy to hold it. It's only a second, 2 seconds, but it's only practice that it gives you more length of time. So that's why we used to always say, yes, sujeto, objeto, lugar means get present. So that was one big one. And the madre, even in my third ceremony, I remember the previous 2 ceremonies had been very colorful, very sharp colors, purples and yellows and oranges and reds and greens. But in my third ceremony were all metallic. Very beautiful, the purple, metallic, and red. So in the first part of my experience, Ayahuasca was telling me, I want you to practice to be present. So I brought that teaching from the Gnostics about the subject, object, and place, sujeto, objeto, lugar, to practice it right there in the ceremony, in the experience. Then I noticed that I was coming out of the medicine. Then I told her, I said, oh, I'm getting out of the experience. I said, it doesn't matter, to keep practicing. Then at some moment she said, do you want to see God? And I said, oh, yes. I said yes to everything. And so then I'm in front of this ocean, which is this infinite, it looks like a gold, like a thick gold. And then I heard, be present, be conscious. And I see a little string coming out of the ocean, and it's me. And say, let it go. So I let it go, and I'm part of the ocean. And then again, be conscious. So that little string come out, and it's standing on top of the ocean, and then let it go. So that was 3 times. And that was my first, you can say, experience with the absolute, to understand what we are, that we are part of that creator, that absolute, and all those, everything helps,
I've had similar experiences where I was like merging into this greater ocean of patterns and shapes and stuff. And it's one of those challenging experiences for me where I find it hard to like fully release and to fully let go. And so every time I don't fully let go, I end up having to vomit more, purge more.
The vomit is actually emotional energy. And I tell people, try it, test it. And say, when you are vomiting, ask the vomit what it is. And it's going to tell you.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Marylou? I was actually in India and I got sick from pizza. Like I had eaten, I think I ate a whole pizza to my face, and you can get away with that, like in your homeland. But I was in India and my stomach hadn't fully adapted to their climate and all their environment. So when I had eaten it, I went home, and that night I got so sick. And I'm in India, so there's all these crazy stories, and you never know if it's something serious or not. But I just all my ayahuasca training and my meditation training, I was able to just get rid of all the thoughts. I was like, oh, all that matters is here right now and just experience it. And for 8 hours, I had my own ayahuasca session, but with pizza, where I would vomit. And it was such intense vomiting that I could see like hallucinations. And I knew exactly what it was I was letting go with every single time I would purge something. And then at one point it was a snake. There's like this black snake that I was seeing. It was really, really intense. But at the very end, I was able to find this tiny little energy bitter core in me, like this black thing that I mean, it doesn't have a color. I'm just saying black, but I was able to like, it's like this tiny little bit of purging, but it was the most important part. So I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yeah, sometimes, I've been in ceremonies when I have so much nausea and I feel like I'm pulling something, and I feel like for hours, I feel like it goes forever. And at some point, when finally it came out, they were like, I just,
yeah.
So when I asked what it was, and they told me, and I said, okay. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, says the art of purging, the art of vomit.
Yeah, no, it really is an art. Like, it sounds crazy to anybody who hasn't done it, but after you learn that it's not a bad thing, but it's actually healing for you. Like I was asking my body exactly what position to be in. There's like an asana that you have to get in, like purging asana. Yeah. And it's the optimal way so that you can purge out the exact little tiny thing at the bottom. Oh, it's intense.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, you can see everybody in that position.
Yeah. I remember doing ayahuasca in a ceremony, and the mother asked me to let go control of my body, and she just started dancing, and it was like I was doing like snaky arms, and it was so silly. But when I finally learned how to let go, it was like I've done M once, and it was way better than that. Like I was taken from like a really deep pain all the way to a beautiful bliss that better than I could have imagined. And a lot of it had to do with just these strange positions that my body was being put into.
Yes. Sometimes the medicine moves people, and they told me the medicine is moving. I said, that's okay. And then sometimes we give them a space for that, so they can move, because the medicine is, kind of moving the energies in their body. Yeah. And sometimes it's like a dance. They are dancing, it's like they're moving their hands. Sometimes it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other ways of purging is diarrhea, which is not very common.
I've never had that.
Not very common. It's mainly the medicine is cleaning the body. There is something there that it needs to bring it out. Usually when happens, it will be the first ceremonies, generally it's first, second ceremonies, or when you haven't had the medicine for a long time, and then she need to clean some part of you. And the crying and the laughing and the yawning, as not as common as the vomit, but the crying is quite common. Sometimes we get everything. Sometimes we get mainly vomit. Sometimes we get, the laughing ceremony when, it's a beautiful vibration to bring. Some shamans don't allow people to laugh. I had one gentleman that he came, and he said he didn't speak English, but he said there was a lady translating and said, nobody's allowed to laugh, and because it's diabolic.
I already want to laugh just hearing that.
Then when he was saying that, he was saying in Spanish, and I said to him, and I said, but this is one of our gifts as a human beings, to be able to laugh. And he said, no, this is diabolic. And you allow the demons to come through the laughing. I say, oh my God, what a different, view we have. But, because a lot of them, they believe in attacks or the demons or whatever. So anyway, he didn't allow nobody to laugh. And I remember there was this young girl in the giggling, when somebody's giggling and laughing, I know they're in the best part. Oh, when you laugh, you got it. You got it. And it's so beautiful and it's very contagious. So the whole group start laughing, and sometimes that helps a lot in their experience. So for me, it's a gift as human beings to be able to laugh.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes you spend the whole ceremony yawning, like this release of energy,
What do you think yawning is? Because it's a very mysterious thing. Some people have said that in ancient superstitions that there was demons or something that can enter by yawning, and then modern science looks at it as a lack of oxygen in the brain. What do you think is going on when people are yawning?
Well, in the ceremonies that I spend, sometimes the whole experience yawning, it's a different time of yawning than when you are sleepy. It's more like it's energy coming out, so you can actually feel it, in every time you yawn. So I think it's just releasing energy, That's I really don't believe that we have to be an attack or something like that. There are a few things that are very important for me that I understood with this medicine. And one of them is to find out who we really are. And one thing that I know is who we really are. No, the body is very important and it's our temple. And yes, we gotta respect it and take care of it. They give us this, this beautiful package to experience everything. And at the same time, this is just one part of the whole. So I believe that who we really are beyond this human body cannot be touched, cannot be harmed, cannot be destroyed, and never dies. So it's this, you can say, energy, spirit, incarnating, and then having all this experience. And as we rise vibration, we start understanding exactly what is to be human. And it's really amazing. And it's powerful. And at the same time, it's like, if we just relax and we allow to just rise our consciousness, looking to be more into a better vibration, it's not because we are running away of the monsters and the demons and the darkness. It's about we have faced, we have encountered the darkness and the demons and the monsters, but we are able to be there in front and not to be afraid and understand that it's energy. And that energy is not about to be destroyed and eliminated. It's about to be transformed. So it's about transformation. It's not running away. It's us. We are all. We are the creator. We are the light and we are the shadow. As a human, we accepted both to experience what is to have the knowing and the total ignorance, to have the light and the total darkness, to remember and to forget, to have all those dichotomies inside of us. And that's why, and other beings that they are pure light, they have so much respect for us because they know what it means to have both energies inside of us and to really to deal with it, to overcome, to understand. Mm-hmm. So that's why we come so many times, to know, to get our wisdom.
So you have a deeper understanding of this because you're mentioning earlier that you have, as a child, you had a connection to your past life. Were you able to reintegrate some of that and remember it through some of your ayahuasca experiences or your other practices?
when I have been shown past lives, usually when I ask Madre, why this? So then she will answer me, showing me a life or many lives when something happened repeatedly. So I said, the reason is this, so that I can understand. But in reality, it's no benefit for us as humans right here, right now, to know that I was, the most powerful person in Mesopotamia, or I was, the prostitute in Egypt, or I was the farmer in Italy, or I was maybe all the time in Mexico. Maybe I don't know. It's so many lives in reality. So that's not really who you were doing, really. It's more about the wisdom that you are left with that life. What you, more than learn, is more what did you capture in wisdom? What it gave you that experience? And I think we all carry all that wisdom inside of us. And that's what we want. And that's what we would like these medicines to help us to tap into that wisdom. And that's the wisdom of really knowing who we are, and to know that we are not broken and we are not pure, like a poor human being that is nothing, no, who we really are, and why are we here? What is all this experience of so much happening and, constant is there any purpose of that? Is there any end? Is there any outcome? Why is this a big joke or what? So once you get it, it's like I just laugh and I say, okay, I'm part of it. So we are contributing, conscious or unconscious. We are choosing, conscious or unconscious. We are choosing even when we think we are not choosing. So it's just an adventure. Yeah.
Marylou, it's been such a pleasure to talk with you. We've gone from your childhood all the way through Gnosticism and Ayahuasca and into past lives. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners before we close the conversation?
Sure. Mainly there are many paths. This is just one. Mm-hmm. In my experience, I'm very, very grateful and hugely grateful that I can take the side door, because I know I've been meditating for many, many lives. When the structure of discipline is very strong, when there is many lives, when the suffering is believed that is going to bring you the enlightenment, when different concepts of why you should feel and do and be this. So this plant medicine, and I'm talking for me, the master plant for me, Madre was the first one. It's very special for me. It's the work that you can do with this medicine is amazing. It's not easy. Huachumita or San Pedro as well is another sacred plant. Mushrooms, or we call it sacred children, the Niños Santos, or Teonanacatl, that's the name in Nahuatl. It means God's flesh. As well, things like Pufo, and the Cambo, that is not visionary, but it's a cleansing of your body, and even Lucy, LSD. I used to believe that, I used to think, no, it have to be natural. And once I experienced LSD, oh my God, it was so, the insights, it was just so beautiful. And I said, wow. So for me, it gave me a lot of answers. And that's mainly what I was looking for, to know and to understand. And I'm very grateful about it. And mainly is that, just to make peace and have fun, enjoy the adventure of life.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Marylou. It's been such a pleasure to talk.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, I'm going to let you go for now. I'm just going to, before I do though, I just want to say a quick blessing for you. I just have so much love for what you're doing and for what you're sharing in this world, Marylou. So I just wish you so much success as you find all the right people to bring the mother to, and as you work with the mother and you discover your own consciousness. I just wish you so much insights and ultimately a loving experience, just so much love. And I love that as you study the mother, you are also becoming a mother, and feel like you are a mother figure for a lot of people, and you have so many children around the world. So I just bless the mother in you as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm saying thank you for this. Just a couple of weeks ago, there is a campaign about thanking the master plans. Like they want to bring this appreciation and gratitude for all these master plans, and I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the plants as well.
Thank you for all this. It's I think understanding in general that this is not a drug. That is not making a person a slave or a vegetable in a corner that they cannot think for themselves or move or decide about their lives. It's the contrary. It's
highly intelligent.
Oh, yes, she knows exactly what to do. And thank you for this. Is part of that to bring the awareness. Mm-hmm.
All right, much love.